Hey everyone, it's Jenna from Canadian Beats Media. Today I'm joined by Indigenous roots rocker Adrian Sutherland for our latest segment of Zoomies. Welcome, Adrian.
It's great to be here, Jenna.
So first off, care to introduce yourself a bit more in depth for our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Adrian Sutherland. I'm a singer-songwriter from Canada's far north, up in Northern Ontario on the west coast of James Bay. I've lived here pretty much my whole life, and this is where I've been making music from, and been very blessed to be able to have my music shared all over the place, and have it's been well received. So I'm also a family man. I have um, a family of four, plus I have six grandkids. So most people are kind of shocked to
Yeah.
learn. Busy person. Many different things going on all at once.
Okay. So you're about to release your sophomore album, Precious Diamonds. Can you tell us a bit about the inspiration behind the title and what listeners can expect with the new record?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, there's two tracks that are titled Precious and Diamonds. So we actually released those two songs together as a double release, those two singles, because of the title of the album. And that's where the inspiration came for those two names. Actually, Colin Linden, who produced the album, was the one who came up with the idea, and we loved it so much, so we just stuck with it.
You've released several singles leading up to the album, like you said, Precious and Diamonds, as well as My Rebel Spirit. How do these songs reflect the themes and messages you are hoping to convey with Precious Diamonds?
Well, I think like a lot of the music I've written, I've always tried to touch on many different themes, like most of them are universal, but I think primarily a lot of it has been about my own experiences, obviously as a songwriter. And Precious is a song that kind of inspired by the music, the black music that came out of the Deep South, about being oppressed, and the lines like "Woe now, sinner, where are you gonna hide now?" is singing to the to the oppressor. And I think uh, Indigenous people have had lived under such difficult circumstances for a long time in this country, and continue to do so. So I think it was always important for me to use my voice, and to try to get people to talk or spark conversations, or to try to bring people along as we try to learn together, and advance the relationship forward in a good way. Diamonds again plays on our sort of view as Indigenous people, that we were made from the sun. We come from some place, like sun is just one thing. We believe that we were made from. We have elements of water, earth, wind. All these parts we're made up of the human body. So that's sort of just playing on our belief, and that's kind of what inspired that song. And My Rebel Spirit is just, was for somebody who's always sort of maybe felt a little bit out of place, or who may have not fit into certain crowds, or the hip crowd, or so things like that. And for me, I've kind of always felt that way, and I think it has a lot to do with living so far away from the industry and being so remote. I've always kind of like stuck to myself, and I don't like to you know get in a room full of people. I feel really uncomfortable sometimes. So that's kind of really what inspired My Rebel Spirit, and I kind of see myself in that song a lot. And I know there's others out there, and you know what? It's not such a bad thing, I guess. To be an outsider, or to be seen as a rebel, or to feel that way. Sometimes it's a good thing, and that's kind of what I've taken from it.
You recorded in Nashville with Colin Linden and a talented group of musicians. Can you share some highlights or memorable moments from the recording process?
Absolutely. I mean, I still think about moments in the studio with the band and different players that came in during my time down there. One thing that really I guess was etched in my mind is like I've never recorded with an entire band all at the same time. It's a lot of times things have been tracked independently, and then they you sort of build the song around in that sort of process. This was the first time I actually had a band in the room, and we all played together, and it's a whole different experience, a whole different feel, and you can really feel that in the album because sometimes there's a little bit subtle differences in the way things are played. This pushed here, this is not pushed there, so you feel that. So that was one thing I really enjoy that, and as you know, I've been playing as a solo artist now for a little while, so I kind of miss having a band. I miss playing with a band. And the other thing was just players like I mean, Colin. He's such a talented player and an amazing producer, and the color like he was able to bring to the album was just it was I can't I can't even say enough good things about it. But we had people like Mickey Raphael who came in and just the soulful harmonica playing that he played on 3 tracks and unbelievable. Like I mean, this guy. I mean, they're all connected to like anyone you can think of. Like they're all connected, and it's just amazing to I just was so starstruck, and I was in complete awe the whole time, and I was probably really awkward because I didn't say a whole lot, and I wanted to ask like 100 questions because I know people like Colin and Mickey and Jim, a few other guys that came in to play. I mean, they played with everyone, and Chris Stapleton. They toured with guys like Chris Stapleton, Willie Nelson. Like these are, these are like the caliber of artists and people that they're in the same circle with. And of course, I didn't even ask 2 questions like the whole time. I was just, I know, just really awkward, and I was just probably trying to play it cool. But you know what? What really etched out in my mind, again, etched in the back of my mind, was how interested they were in who I was and where I came from. They were asking questions about hunting and different things that I grew up doing and continue to do up here.
In addition to your music, you're also an author, entrepreneur, and advocate. How do these various roles intersect with your music, and how do you use your platforms as a musician to raise awareness?
Yeah, I think music and the entrepreneur kind of go together because music is just one small part of what I do. Believe it or not. I mean, there's just so many other things. There's so many other moving parts behind the music. You have, a whole village of people that are working with the artist to help, advance their music and get their music out there. There's just so many different things. So to have a strong entrepreneur or business background is definitely an asset, to have in this industry. So those two things kind of blend together almost seamlessly when it comes to music and kind of advancing someone's career. But as far as like the advocacy type of work, that definitely comes out in the music because a lot of the writing is a little bit politically driven, sometimes more than others. So you hear that come out in the lyrics, in the music, and different messages that I try to convey through the songs. And being, I guess, the other part I believe was being um,
Author.
an author. I think it's important. It's always about telling stories. It's always about, for me, it's always been about sharing. And I know not everyone shares the same views as me, and I've learned that, by having conversations. People just, will strongly disagree with a certain point that I may raise, but it's also helping me learn about others and how they view things. And they may not always see eye to eye, but I do try my best to not lecture and try to be preachy or anything like that to people because I know that is really sometimes a turn off. So I always try to look for ways. How do we learn together? How do we kind of move something along together and learn something from that whole experience? So I think that's for me. It's always through stories, whether it's through a song, whether it's through writing as like a novel.
Okay. And looking ahead to the rest of 2024, what are some of your goals that you're looking forward to accomplishing?
Well, for sure, the number musically, I guess for me, I like to get out and I'd like to do it, keep touring. That's obviously something. Excuse me. It's obviously something I would like to do more of. That's still a work in progress. And I'd like to continue making music. I would like to keep writing music and recording music. And finally, I'd like to get my book finished and get it out because I think it's very important for me, to get that out. And I think I've been really struggling with it in some ways because there's things I'm learning about myself that I never really knew. So when you kind of delve into something like that, um, you kind of see yourself, and it's not always a pretty pretty image. And so it's been a learning process for sure, and I'm eager to get it out. And I think there's some great stuff that I've been able to touch on. And again, it's always about learning and moving
Mhm.
together.
Definitely. So the next 5 questions are just for fun.
Okay.
What's your favorite thing to do when you're not making music?
I like to it's either going to be play hockey or I like to be out in nature. One of those
Okay.
two. They're both up there.
Okay. If you could collaborate with any musician, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Ooh. Lately, I would say Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters. Yeah, I've been a fan of Foo Fighters for a long time. So, and I was a big fan of Nirvana. Obviously, some of the members came from that whole era,
Mhm.
and I just really I'm able to connect with the music and relate to the music, and I love their music. So he'd be one guy, if I could collaborate with. I think it would be a very good collaboration.
Definitely. If you could play any instrument that you don't already, what would it be?
The violin.
Oh, nice. If you could eat only one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, I'm gonna have to say burgers because I really do I always try to find a good burger place every time I'm touring. You can't eat too many burgers because you might go straight to the waistline, but definitely
Yeah.
burgers.
Okay. And last but not least, what's your go-to warm drink on a winter day?
Tea. It would be a hot cup of tea, just a regular orange pico with a bit of milk and honey. That's my
Awesome.
go.
Okay. Thank you for joining me and congratulations on the new album.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.